Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Before the Bell, episode number 4. If you guys haven't watched my other videos yet, what the hell are you doing? Come on. They've been on, this is the 4th episode. They've been on for a while now. They're not that long. They're only like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. You can take some time out of your day to watch them. I promise you, they're going to be somewhat entertaining. They're not the best, but in all seriousness, they are pretty damn good. You guys know the drill by now. I'm not going to go into detail about what the show is about because you should already know, and if you don't know, that's because you haven't watched, and if you haven't watched, then you're not a true rope breaker, and you need to reassess all of your life choices because that's just ridiculous. So, obviously, like I always say, throw your headphones in, sit back, relax, let me try to entertain you for a little bit. I do have a couple topics that I want to hit, and we are literally just going to jump into this. I know, no plugging of anything right off the bat. I'm saving that for later on in the show, so be aware that that still is coming, but I got some things I want to talk about. First things first, finally, The Rock returned to Raw. Obviously, I wasn't on Raw React this week. I couldn't make it, but Alec, Randy, and Aussie himself all made it to the debate desk, and they put on one hell of a show. So I do want to talk about some things that happened on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, the first being The Rock made his return in Brooklyn. And if you don't know by now, I am a diehard Rock fan. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. So, needless to say, I was pretty pumped. But I've been hearing a lot of negativity over The Rock returning, and all this negativity is coming from the people that probably, in my opinion, were probably shitting their pants over the Great One returning. They're probably jumping up and down, screaming, and then all of a sudden they turn right around and, The Rock buried Rusev. Alright, first and foremost, this is getting ridiculous, and this is pissing me off. The whole buried term is getting way out of hand. It is so overused, and it's unnecessary. It's so infrequent that guys get, quote, buried, that anybody who uses that term, you just look like an idiot. You look like somebody who's trying to sound intelligent and trying to sound like they know what they talk about. Oh, I said the word buried, so I'm in with the company. I know the business. I'm not a mark, I'm a smark. Shut up. You watch the product, you buy their fucking merchandise, you're a mark, period. I'm a mark. I know a little bit about that. I hate those terms. They're stupid. And if you thought that return from The Rock, if you watched it in its entirety and you thought for 1 second that The Rock buried Rusev, then you know nothing about the product. So let me educate you for a second there. First things first, go back and watch it, and then come back to this video, because then you're going to understand what I'm trying to say. First of all, The Rock is one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling history. There's no denying that. And if you deny that, then once again, you're an idiot who knows nothing about the product. Damn, Matt Donato is turning heel on this episode of Before the Bell. You wouldn't get this in the bleachers. No, you're going to get this right here for Rope Break. Only time you're ever going to see somebody turn heel on their own podcast. That's not a good way to do a podcast. To start insulting your audience. Yeah, that's going to get people to come back. But seriously, he put over Rusev more than anybody has just by talking. Go back and listen to what he says. He says, and I quote, sort of, because I don't remember exactly what he said, but, in some shape or form, he said that there's a reason that nobody has been able to beat you. Because you are meaner, stronger, and tougher than pretty much everybody in the back. Not only did he put over Rusev, he put him over big time by saying that there's nobody in the back that can beat him. The only one who can handle Rusev is a first ballot Hall of Famer, a man who has won the championship, the man who has headlined WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. This guy was the Attitude Era. He is a legend. He is larger than life. So for him to come back and take out Rusev only makes sense. Would it make sense if Rusev beat the shit out of The Rock? No. Not at all. Rusev hasn't established himself enough yet. It's not like The Rock pinned him. It's not like they had a match and he beat him. He beat the shit out of him verbally, That's what The Rock does. That's a compliment. The fact that The Rock came out during Rusev's segment, you know, and like I said, beat the shit out of him verbally. That's a compliment from The Rock. If you're a wrestler, that is what you want. You want to be able to say that I stood in the ring toe to toe with The Rock. Not many people can say that. So that in and of itself is a huge push. And secondly, like I said, he told him that he's the toughest guy in that locker room, and he's tougher, bigger, and stronger than most everybody in that locker room. I don't know about you, but that does not sound like a burial to me. Oh, he punched him a couple times and sent him over the top rope. Yeah, Rusev got up and walked away. Tell me from start to finish how that was a burial. Now, if that happened from somebody else, like, I don't know, like Zack Ryder or some jobber who came out, no offense to Zack Ryder, no, you're trying, buddy. Keep up with your YouTube show. It's a hit. No, it's not. No, it's really not. Anyway, if anybody like that came out and did something like that to Rusev, then yes, I would agree. It's sort of a burial. Doesn't make much sense. But it's The Rock. The Rock can do whatever the hell he wants. He's earned it. If Stone Cold Steve Austin came back and did that, same thing. They're larger than life. They can get away with doing that and still keep whoever they're verbally attacking, physically attacking. They can keep their character and their build intact. So for all of you smarks, like you like to call yourselves, who keep saying this is a burial of Rusev, you guys are stupid and have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. It frustrates me. That term just gets thrown around, and it's worthless. It's a meaningless term. Oh, Triple H buried so-and-so. Really? That's stupid. No, he didn't. He didn't bury anybody. You people. Alright, we're going to move on from that topic, because that was just my vent on The Rock's return. I did love it, though. I was pumped. I was like a preteen girl waiting in line for Justin Bieber when The Rock came out. Damn near pissed my pants. Didn't expect it. See, here we go. I'm going to go into... This is what Before the Bell's all about. It's going into tangents like this. It's going off the cuff. I was ready to move on, and I'm pulling myself back in because there's some more stuff that I want to talk about, obviously. So that's what we do here. You're not going to get that anywhere else. I was excited that he came back, and, I love when it's a surprise. See, they always ruin... And I talked about this last week, too. How they ruin surprises, and how surprise returns like that are huge, huge in building guys. Like, for instance, like I said last week, Roman Reigns' return has potential to be massive, but they ruined it by bringing him on Monday Night Raw. We don't need an update on what's wrong with him. The fact that they're making this real and actually telling us what's really going on with him is what's ruining everything right now. There's so much potential in this, and they're just missing it. I don't understand it. I said this last week, and I'm not trying to, reiterate what I said last week, but it just feels like they could have easily made a storyline up where, you have Roman Reigns in back. Obviously, he's well enough to do a backstage segment. He's probably in the arena. There's absolutely no reason, other than complete laziness from the creative team, that Reigns, couldn't be found backstage unconscious, and then we later find out it was Seth Rollins and Triple H and those gang of thugs. And then, now guess what? You just built yourself a storyline for when he returns. Keep him off TV. Let the suspense build. Let people want him to come back. Because honestly, your guy right now is not doing so hot with the crowd. Guess what? Nobody gives a shit about Roman Reigns anymore. People stopped caring about him after the Royal Rumble. He was hot, and then this is the problem. He was hot. The WWE caught on to that and fucked it up because they wanted to get the most they could, and because if they just left him alone, he probably would have been fine. But they jumped on it. They had to. Right now, he's not relatable because nobody knows who he is. Make him relatable. Build in a storyline. Give him these are blessing in disguise right now. This is a blessing in disguise. He's injured. Use it. Make a story out of it. Because if you make a story, say Seth Rollins is the one to take him out, when Roman Reigns finally does return, guess what? Now Roman Reigns has an opponent, and you're not left, scratching your ass trying to figure out what you want to do next. It's right there. Surprise return could be huge. People get excited over surprise returns. I know The Rock is a little bit different because he's a little bit elevated. And I'm not, using The Rock and Roman Reigns because, they're related. It just happened to be that way. But let Roman Reigns come back without any warning. Let him come back without telling us. Because they're going to tell us Roman Reigns returns on Raw. He's not a big draw, so there's no point in doing that. I kind of understand it. Like a guy like RVD, when he came back, I still wish it was a surprise. I think that would have been way better. But business-wise, I get it. They're trying to draw in a crowd. If you tell them somebody's going to be there, then more than likely they're going to show up. But with a guy like Roman Reigns, that's not the case. Roman Reigns is not a big draw. You're not selling out arenas with Roman Reigns. It's just not happening. So by telling us he's showing up, nobody's going to give a shit. Yeah, the same soccer moms that come to see Orton are already going to be there. So that's pretty much your entire demographic of fans who love Roman Reigns. And John Cena fans who are going to be there for Cena. There's no demographic for Roman Reigns other than fans who are already there. Nobody's coming just to see Roman Reigns. People are coming to see John Cena, to see Brock Lesnar when he is there. There are people who come to see Randy Orton. Nobody's coming to see Roman Reigns because nobody cares. It's just that simple. So make people care. Give him a relatable character. Make him come back as a surprise. Get people excited. Because if you build in that storyline, like I said, where people, everybody knows now, you embedded it in our heads. Seth Rollins took out Roman Reigns. Awesome. Now wait. Build up. Now you focus on building Seth as a standout heel, not a, quote, baby back bitch, as, Aussie calls Orton. Make him a true heel. Make people hate him. Nobody can stop him. That's how you, this is, I said this last week, this is just elementary stuff. This is basic wrestling 101. You build up a heel. He's the baddest guy in town. Nobody can take him out. He's holding hostage the entire locker room. Nobody can stop him. Boom, your big baby face returns or makes his debut and takes him out. The first person to do it. Done. That is how you build credible baby faces and credible heels. Period. So build up Seth Rollins to be a credible heel so that when Roman Reigns finally does return as a surprise, it's much more impactful for both guys. Then you're not wasting anybody's time. You already have a storyline planned out for his return, so you don't have to, rewrite an entire script the night of Raw because you don't know what you're doing. I mean, this is just ridiculous that this is the shit that goes on. Alright, I've been on this topic for far too long. I'm trying to keep this to 45 minutes, but we're like 13, 14 minutes in already, and trying to, like I said, I'm trying to keep this short. So, we're going to kind of move off the topic. I mentioned Cena, and apparently there's a new rumor going around that Brock Lesnar will be facing John Cena at the Royal Rumble, which you can read more about at ropebreakwrestling.com. I don't know how I feel about this. Honestly, it's just been done. This is just something that I've seen over and over and over, and I'm tired of seeing it. There's nothing else to gain from this. I understand that Cena didn't get a decisive win, but whether he won or lost, I don't think anybody really cares anymore. I think you're really starting to get people really tired of Cena. If they were tired years ago, they're beyond tired now. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody. I feel like the reason they changed John Cena's shirts to keep calm, blah, 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 whatever they say, I honestly don't care. The only reason I would buy one is to burn one, because they're the worst looking shirts I've ever seen. Go to my local t-shirt shop, get a bunch of them for like 25 cents. That's all they're worth. They look terrible. I feel like they did that because the fans complain. Well, the fans keep complaining about him wearing the same shirts. So we're going to give him new ones that don't, that aren't flashy. Yet he's still wearing his headband, or well, they are headbands on his biceps, wristbands, hats, rally towel. And here's the weird thing: nothing that he wears right now is matching. Like he'll wear like a off blue shirt, like a dark blue gray shirt with bright red wristbands and hat, a weird khaki green shorts, Kmart light up, probably Velcro shoes. I'm not sure if the guy even knows how to tie his shoes. All right, these are just, a bunch of shots at poor Cena. I don't hate Cena. I'm just kind of bored with the guy. All right, so back to topic at hand. Getting scatterbrained, guys. Come on, you guys got to keep me on track here. What the hell? Brock Cena Royal Rumble is not something I'm looking forward to. There's really no point in it. It does nothing for anybody. It's not really putting Brock. You're waiting for this long for this to happen. And let's talk about this real quick. Brock Lesnar is not going to be on TV until January, from what I'm hearing. I know some people are pissed and some people are okay with it. I've been an advocate of Brock Lesnar. I've been an advocate for his title run. I love the fact that he's a part-timer and has a title. I think that does so much for his heel status, because I said this before. The fans today are different. They're not the fans that they used to be. They're fans that will cheer heels and boo baby faces. They're different. They're unpredictable. The one thing that they all have in common, you can go to any wrestling forum, any comment section of any wrestling website, and you'll find the same thing. The majority of them all hate part-timers. So, how do you make somebody heel with those people who love heels? You make them a part-timer, or you bring in a part-timer and make them champion. Boom, Brock Lesnar is now heel with a lot of the IWC, who would otherwise love him because he's a heel. Perfect. It's genius. There's nothing wrong with it. And I love the fact that he's not there every week. However, being away for this long is kind of, it's kind of difficult for me. I'm a traditionalist, and I feel like you need to have the title on at least the pay-per-views. I always used to say it needs to be on every Monday Night Raw. It needs to be promoted. I still, in some sense, believe that, but I'm being a little more lenient and saying at least the pay-per-views. Because it, to me, just makes me feel like the title is worthless. You're not promoting it as your top title anymore because it's not even on TV. I mean, Paul Heyman apparently is not even going to be on Raw or SmackDown or any pay-per-view until Brock Lesnar returns. At least have Paul Heyman come out with the titles and keep promoting Brock. That makes sense, right? There's no reason to not have the titles themselves. Brock doesn't have to be there. But there's no reason for the titles not to be there. They could have easily written Paul Heyman in and had him come out with... I would love to see that. Have Heyman come out wearing the titles. I think that'd be great. But no, they're just fucking lazy. And let's just write Brock Lesnar off TV until Royal Rumble time. Yeah, that'll make people interested in it. You build a guy up. That's not a good way to build a credible heel. You build him up. I mean, as far as him being out, yeah, but I mean, as far as being a strong heel, you build him up, and you make people think this guy's unstoppable, and then you slow the build down by having him almost lose to John Cena and then not be on TV till the Royal Rumble. It doesn't make any sense. It's just terrible booking, in my opinion. It just doesn't make any sense to have him off TV for that long. I mean, I would even be okay with him doing something via satellite. To be honest, I think that would piss people off a lot. And then when we hear the Rock jokes, oh, he's must be taking lessons from the Rock. Now you can kiss the people's ass. Man, I just don't understand it. It just drives me nuts. I just don't understand how you go from building a guy up to completely destroying John Cena to having him almost lose to John Cena before Seth Rollins cashed in, or attempted to not having him on TV at all for months. To me, that's not a good way to build a champion. Sorry. So I'm kind of against it. Think he needs to be back in some shape. Doesn't need to be live, but he does need to be at least via satellite. Hell, I would take via phone. You know, just play Brock Lesnar over the loudspeakers or something and have him talk. That's what I would do. But I mean, there's still a question on who exactly he's going to be facing. I mean, if he beats Cena at the Royal Rumble, and then Roman Reigns wins, which I'm kind of hoping doesn't happen. I'm not interested in Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. I'm really not. Not looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to be that good. I don't think Roman Reigns is ready. I think that they need to start thinking about what happens when Daniel Bryan makes his return. I think Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar would be a much better match, and it would make much more sense, to be honest. I mean, Bryan is already established, and he needs something when he comes back, to reassure the fans that he's still got what it takes, especially after having that surgery. It just would make sense. I'm not going to go into complete detail, but I will say that I will be writing an article for RopeBreakWrestling.com within this week. So you can keep an eye on that. I will be writing an article on that topic of why Daniel Bryan should be the one to beat Brock Lesnar and not Roman Reigns. So stay tuned for that. While I move on to another possible WrestleMania match that's been getting a lot of attention lately. People are very curious about this. WrestleMania 31 could see the return of Triple H versus The Rock. Now, this is definitely a match we've seen before, and it's been pretty awesome every single time. I don't think I've ever seen... I'm trying to think well, I don't think there's been a Rock Triple H singles competition that's been terrible or it's been bad at all. We're not talking. I don't remember exactly which match this was, but I believe it was Triple H, Rock, Big Show, and Mick Foley. I don't remember exactly which pay-per-view that was. All I know is it wasn't very good. That's a topic for a different day. We're talking about Rock HHH WrestleMania 31. I'm excited for that. I think that could be great. As long as it's not the main event. I know Alec put up an article on Rope Break, so you can read that too if you want more details on this. And he pretty much said the same thing. As long as this is not a main event match, I'm going to be completely okay with it. I don't like the idea of the WWE reaching back to their glory days in order to get pay-per-view buys. They can't keep relying on these guys to make a return. With that being said, I would much rather see Brock versus HHH than why the hell do I keep calling him HHH? That's weird. It just sounds weird. Triple H. That's his name. Triple H. Or Paul. When I'm pissed at him, I'm mad when I'm mad at Triple H because I'll call him Paul. Because we're cool like that. No, we're not. I just like to pretend I am. Makes me feel important. But Triple H versus The Rock, WrestleMania 31. Like I said, I think that's going to be one hell of a match. As long as it's not the main event, that's definitely something I would buy a pay-per-view to see. Just because it's been so long. But I would be interested to see how this would transpire. How is this going to fit into the current storylines? Are they going to just drop the Authority storyline? Are they going to continue on it and have The Rock jump in to save Ambrose or Cena or something like that? You know, maybe he tells Triple H he doesn't like how he's running things around here. I mean, I'm interested to see how they work this. Because I don't think that they should just throw this into WrestleMania randomly and just say, we're just going to have this match. I'm not interested in that. I want a storyline behind it. I want a reason for it. I want to build. We are running past 25-minute mark right now. And got a couple more topics to go, so I'm going to just jump right over. And I want to talk about, I really want to quickly just mention Monday Night Raw. This is something that really annoyed me. First of all, the first hour of Raw sucked. Can we get that out of the way? The first hour sucked. I mean, I talked about this before. Match placement is key. It's so important and it's so neglected in the WWE. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you can't clump all of your... You know which segments aren't going to go over as well with the crowd. You just know. You can't tell me... I'm actually pretty sure Vince thought El Torito versus Hornswoggle, Gator, whatever the hell he's calling him. I don't know what they call him, but El Torito versus the Gator, the alligator, Hornswoggle. I'm sure Vince was like, you know, that he probably thought this was the greatest match going. It feels like, because it's weird that we're having this rivalry again. Like, it wasn't really that successful the first time. So why are we repackaging it and trying to do something different with it? I feel like Vince left on an extended vacation. They dropped this storyline, and now he's finally come back and trying to... The hell happened to my midgets? He probably calls them like... What's like a really offensive... like a really offensive term for little people. Little people, no, little people isn't that bad. Midget, I guess some people get offended by midget. It's probably what he calls them. God damn it, what happened to my midgets? And that was probably the greatest Vince McMahon impression you've ever heard. I know. If you want me to do more, leave a comment. I know that was pretty damn good. But that's the only thing I could think of. That's the first thing that popped in my head. Like, did Vince like go on vacation and then come back and his midgets were gone, and he was all pissed off, and he just like threw this match in there. We need to have midgets, damn it. We need to dress them up in stupid outfits too. That's just terrible. I think the whole crowd was chanting, "This is stupid," too. Is that not enough to give you the hint that the fans don't give a shit about this match and don't want to see it? We'll get another one. This will probably be a huge... They'll probably have a Hell in a Cell match, too. I'm banking on it. I guarantee you. Mark my words. You heard it here first on Before the Bell. They're going to have some sort of Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell. It'll probably be in a damn cell. You thought Bella versus Bella in a cell was bad. You ain't seen nothing yet. No, that's not a rumor. That's just me trying to get in the head of creative. This is something that they would do. But that's what I want to talk about. That match was just stupid. Pointless. Ridiculous. It makes no sense. And the fact that they clumped everything in the beginning, in the first hour, just made for a terrible Raw. That match just drove me nuts. There's no point in it. The fans don't want to see it. It wasn't good. It's not funny. It's pointless. Oh, and before I forget, because I did almost forget to mention this, backtracking really quickly to Triple H The Rock, there is a basis for this, and it isn't just me spitballing and hoping for this match. There actually is reason why people believe this, and I probably should have mentioned that before I moved on to my next topic. The reasoning behind it is, in a Raw, it was either on a Raw exclusive or something on SmackDown. I don't remember which, but Triple H and The Rock had some words back and forth. And they started taking shots at each other and kind of alluded to a match. I think The Rock said, or Triple H said, "You want to do this at WrestleMania," or something to that effect. he mentions WrestleMania 31, or either him or The Rock did. I don't remember which one, but there is reasoning behind why we think The Rock and Triple H could happen at WrestleMania. It's not just, you know, internet smarks on their keyboards typing away, trying to spread rumors. Next thing that I want to touch on is Rusev versus John Cena at we're on the WrestleMania kick, so we're gonna continue with WrestleMania. And another match, like I was just saying, for WrestleMania 31, Rusev versus John Cena. This has been in the works. WWE is talking about it. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. This is interesting to me. It's intriguing. So leave a comment. And this is where the plug, told you in the beginning, I'm going to plug in the middle or at the end. If you want to get a hold of me, if you want to leave a comment on anything that I'm talking about, any of these topics, if you want to just tell me I'm a jackass and I should never do this show again, I'm going to tell you you can kiss my ass because do whatever the hell I want. But tell me, and you can comment right below in the comments section. You can find me on Twitter at RopeBreakWrestling. Or at Real Maldonado. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/RopeBreakWrestling. And as always, go and check out the website, RopeBreakWrestling.com. Bookmark us. And keep up to date on everything wrestling. That is my quick plug. Just so that you know where you can comment for this question. Rusev versus Cena, yes or no? Let me know what you guys think. You can give me a full answer. You can literally just type yes or no if you want. But seriously, let me know what you guys think. And if you answer on Twitter, answer with the hashtag BRB or BTB. BRB. See, I don't even know the name of my own damn show. Oh I'm fired. I'm firing myself. That's just ridiculous. I'm not quitting. I'm firing myself. BRB. What an asshole. Try before the bell or BTB. Put that in a hashtag and ask me your question. But I know for me personally, I'm not against this match. My only concern is this. Cena won't lose. It's WrestleMania. There's no way I see Rusev coming out of this alive. And I don't think, depending upon, I mean, he hasn't really faced anybody that important. So him going against Mark Henry really meant nothing to me. Him going against Big Show really meant nothing to me. Like I said before, him being taken out by The Rock, I don't think buried him. But it's not going to help if after he gets beaten up by The Rock, he goes and he faces R-Truth or some terrible wrestler like that. And it's not that he's terrible, it's just he's not credible. And then goes and loses Cena at WrestleMania. I just don't see it working out. But Cena will, if this does happen, Cena will win. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I can't see Cena losing to Rusev at WrestleMania. Although, I think he should. I think it's about time he puts guys over. But that's a topic for a totally different day. It's a topic that I use an entire 45 minutes of before the bell and just ran about Cena. As much as I actually stand up for the guy most of the time, I'm actually not a Cena hater. I'm just not a fan. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with it because I don't think the match would be terrible, but I don't think it would be great. And I just don't see any point. I don't see Rusev coming out alive. And I think after he loses to Cena, he's gonna be a comedy act like everybody's been predicting. I'm afraid they're gonna put a derby on him and he's gonna start drinking tea like Vladimir Kozlov did. I actually think Kozlov had a lot of potential, but they just dropped the ball. But as Chris Jericho says, I don't know if you saw that interview, the WWE doesn't drop the ball. Oh, that's some bullshit. Jericho's been drinking the WWE juice a little bit too much lately. Because they definitely drop the ball often. But I'm also curious, what do you guys think about Eric Rowan? Obviously, this has been talked about for a while. Kind of beating a dead horse here, but Rowan kind of going off and doing his own singles thing. I know I talked about this Wyatt thing last week, and I know Aussie talked about it on the Sharpshoot, which is one hell of a show. So if you haven't checked that out yet, then you are wasting your life. Seriously, I'm not saying this being biased. Yeah, we both, run rope break wrestling together. We're both really good friends. From a objective point of view, from a fan point of view, I literally do watch it every time he posts it because I really enjoy it. He's extremely talented at what he does, and his shows are extremely entertaining. So if you haven't watched it yet, seriously, go watch it. With that being said, Rowan leaving, going on his own. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't take this route because I don't think he's ready, period, to do anything on his own. I think Luke Harper is definitely more ready than he is. I know Aussie was afraid, saying that he doesn't think that they're established as solo artists yet. I don't agree with that. I think the way to become established is just by going out there and doing it. There's no other way to really, they could have established them as, singles. They've done a few things as singles with Bray, but I think Luke Harper will survive it. I don't think Eric Rowan will. I just don't think he's talented enough to really stay there by himself. It just kind of bothers me because to me, it makes no sense. That's the theme for this damn podcast this week, ain't it? It makes no sense. That's the theme for WWE every fucking week. It makes no sense. Why are you going to cram two broads who, by the way, talked shit about the WWE a while back, saying it was sleazy, and slammed Ravishing Rick Rude, who's an absolute legend. And, why are you going to have those bimbos on your show? They slammed your product. Complete publicity stunt, and it was a terrible one. Nobody was interested in this segment. It was hard to watch. It was just terrible. You're going to cram all that shit into 1 hour? They're lucky The Rock returned, or it would have been a pretty iffy Raw. They're just lazy. It just doesn't make sense to me. Creative team, there's so much they could be doing right now to make this show better, and it's so simple. It's right there in front of them. They're too busy writing a reality television show and not a wrestling show. That's what this is. It's sports entertainment. This isn't Jersey Shore. This isn't Chrisley Knows Best or whatever the hell that stupid show is that airs after Raw in the United States. Who is going to be guest hosting Raw coming up. Awesome. Wow. That's fucking ridiculous. That shit pisses me off. These guest hosts need to stop. Nobody cares about them coming on. They're really not giving you that much publicity. Here's something that you need to get through your thick skull. I'm talking to creative team as if they're listening to me. If somebody doesn't like wrestling, chances are they're probably never going to like wrestling. It's that simple. You're not going to bring new fans in by showing, oh, I've never heard of wrestling before. What is this professional wrestling you speak of? Oh, Todd Chrisley's on your fucking show? Well, let me tune in because now I'm interested. Nobody knows who that guy is either. Nobody gives a shit. He's ridiculous. What about this other broad that's coming on who does some reality show that nobody cares about either? Nobody knows who that is either. Nobody cares. Wrestling fans don't care. Oh, she's on the show, then I have to watch Raw. They're going to watch the Raw for her, or for them. And then they're never going to watch it again. You're looking for day-by-day ratings instead of looking for lifetime ratings. Stop looking for these small little rating boosts and start building your product for people who actually watch every goddamn week. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to keep saying that word ridiculous until you make your shows better. It's stupid. Keep looking for these rating boosts by bringing on these no-name hacks that nobody gives a shit about. Oh, let's bring these two bimbos onto our show and have them break bottles on their asses. Why? Why? How's that entertainment? There's no reason behind it. They looked uncomfortable. We were uncomfortable. Nobody wins in that situation. We all just want to forget that entire segment. Nobody wants to remember it. I mean, guest hosts need to stop. They don't help your show. You know what's going to help your show? Make it good. That's simple. Make your show entertaining. Make me want to watch every week. You know, when I'm a die-hard wrestling fan since literally birth, and I'd much rather watch football on Mondays, you know you're doing something wrong. Because I absolutely love pro wrestling. That's why I do this podcast. That's why I run Rope Break Wrestling with my buddies, because we love pro wrestling. This site is for the fans, by the fans, always has been, always will be. We want to know what you guys think of all of our stuff that we do. We love to hear from you guys. You know, we love the feedback, so keep sending it our way. We really appreciate all the positive feedback, and even the negative criticism, as long as it's, you know, a criticism of some kind that's going to help us in the long run, we're all for it. I mean, you can be a jackass if you want and tell us how much we suck. We really don't care. We're happy with what we're doing. If you think we can improve it and you have ideas, we're always willing to listen, no matter who you are, no matter how old or how young. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can always get a hold of us. Rope Break Wrestling on Twitter. Facebook.com/Rope Break Wrestling. You can come and, you know, bookmark the website, ropebreakwrestling.com. You know, that way you can always keep up to date. Because here's the deal. I mean, I say this every week, and it's because it's true. Rope Break Wrestling is a lifestyle. And if you're not living the Rope Break lifestyle, then you know what? You're not really living. And that's not me being biased. That is just a fact of life. I mean, you can go to the bleachers and you can go to cage side, and you know, you can do all that kind of stuff, but it's just not that great. There's no better place to be than in the ring with Rope Break, and you know, that's just the truth. It's the truth, and the sooner you learn that, the better off the entire world will be. I guarantee you, if you come over to Rope Break right now and you like us on Facebook, there'll probably be world peace. You know, it's probably gonna stop, you know, world hunger. Poverty will cease to exist, all because you liked us on Facebook. No, that's not gonna happen. That'd be pretty awesome, but that's not gonna happen. But seriously though, it'll change your life by coming over to Rope Break. I promise you that. That I can promise you. It'll change your life. Rope Break is a lifestyle. And don't be shy. Share us with your friends. If you're not sharing Rope Break with your friends who love wrestling, then you're being neglectful and you're being a terrible friend. And I cannot condone that. I can give you the remedy. Don't be a terrible friend. Like Rope Break on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and bookmark our website, ropebreakwrestling.com. It's that simple. And automatically you become a good friend, you know, by sending them over to us. It's that easy. It's a quick fix. Say, hey, there's this awesome website that's so much better than Bleacher Report and Cage Side and No DQ and all these other terrible sites that don't do giveaways. We're doing giveaways, guys. Every single pay-per-view. We do giveaways. We do podcasts. Can you find that anywhere else? No. No, you can't. Survivor Series. Survivor Series is our next big giveaway. And if you haven't found out what our big giveaway yet is, we're trying to reach 3,000 likes on Facebook. If you guys can help get us there, we're giving away a brand new copy of WWE 2K15 for the console of your choice. So once we get to 3,000 likes on Facebook, the contest begins, the giveaway begins, and you then have the opportunity to win yourself a copy of 2K15. We'll give you details if and when we reach the 3,000 like mark on Facebook. But all you got to do is like the page, share it with your friends, have them like the page. You just killed two birds with one stone. Do you realize that? You brought your friend over to Rope Break, so now you're a good friend, and you had them share it and like our page, which brings you one step closer to being the proud owner of a brand new copy for free of 2K15 for the console of your choice. So you become a good friend, and you come one step closer to winning the copy of 2K15. It's a win-win. It costs you nothing. What are you waiting for? Come on. It's just ridiculous. Ugh. Ridiculous. Any crazy rope breakers out there want to re-listen to this podcast and count how many times I said ridiculous? It's pretty high up there. I said it quite a bit. Alright, guys. We are passing the 45-minute mark. I don't want to keep you guys on here any longer. And the reason I go 45 minutes, quite frankly, is because I have a short attention span. And, I think I would become boring after a while. And I think 45 minutes is a good spot. However, if you guys, want it longer, then let me know. If you think it should be an hour long, then you can let me know. I might go to an hour. If you want me to, go to 30 minutes, I'll do my best, and I'll see if I can't go down to 20 or 30 minutes if you think it should be shorter. I am working on getting Before the Bell onto iTunes and onto another source for Android phones so that you don't have to keep opening the YouTube app to listen to this because it's a pain in the ass. I want to make it as accessible as possible. So I'm working on that. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks. I'm working on improving the show every single week. I'm actually working on buying a studio mic so that the podcast audio comes out crisp. And hopefully I can get that soon. I'm trying to improve this podcast every single week, trying to make it even better. If there's something I'm doing that you like or don't like, if you think there's something I can improve on personally, then let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys for listening to Before the Bell episode number 4. Go check out the other 3 episodes. They're pretty good. You can see my progression. I'm working on getting better at this. I'm having a blast doing this, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying me and are at least being entertained a little bit by my nonsense. I know I can be an idiot and ramble like I'm doing right now, but it's all in good fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. This has been Before the Bell, episode number 4. As always, I am your host, Matt Donato. Thank you guys for listening. I will see you guys right back here, same time, same place. Take care.